Welcome back to Scotland Shop on the Sofa. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Carrie, and this month we've been learning all about Clan MacMillan, and we can't wait to share their fascinating history with you. Keep listening to discover all about their origins, stunning territories, greatest achievements, and much more.
Clan MacMillan come from lofty beginnings, having descended from an ancient royal house. In the 6th century, an Irish prince named St. Columba set up a grand church on Iona. The Columban church quickly gained power and influence, attracting numerous followers.
Alexander I of Scotland increased the Columban church's prestige even more by appointing Cormac, a Columban, as Bishop of Dunkeld. Cormac had many sons, one of whom, Gilly Crieff, was the progenitor of Clan MacMillan.
Due to his position, Crieff would have had a distinctive tonsure or hairstyle, as Celtic priests shaved their hair over the front of their heads, rather than in a ring like the Romans. This alternate tonsure was known as Mahoyle Lane or of St. John, so the name MacMillan means son of one who bore the tonsure of St. John. Other branches of the family favoured Mac Gilly Mahoyle, with the slightly more succinct meaning of son of the tonsured servant.
It seems that the family initially settled on the shores of Loch Arkaig in Loch Arbor and were well established by the 13th century. Another branch sprung up following a period of political turmoil triggered by Robert the Bruce killing John, the Red Comyn, in a Dumfries church. The Comyns furiously sought revenge, forcing Robert to hide out in the Highlands. The MacMillan chief at the time, Muir Muir, hid him in his grand home at Benlawes. He is presumed progenitor of a large Galloway sect of the clan.
However, this kindness was sadly not repaid. In around 1360, when Robert's son David II opposed the Lords of the Isles, the MacMillans, who were keen supporters of the lordship, were banished from the area of Loch Tay. Luckily, John of Islay granted them lands in Knapdale, where they showed great resilience and grit, re-establishing themselves and building on their strong reputation.
The MacMillans' influence over their local landscape can still be seen clearly today, not least in their links to one of the oldest stone castles in Scotland. Castle Sween now stands in ruins on a low ridge overlooking Loch Sween, but it's still an impressive sight. It is thought to have been built all the way back in the late 11th century by the brother of the King of Ulster and High King of Ireland.
Over the following centuries, the castle passed hands between various families, from the MacSweens to the Stuarts to the Menteiths, but it is particularly linked to Clan MacMillan and is popularly considered their ancestral seat.
The MacMillans even made one of the most significant architectural additions to the site when they added a large keep, which projects from the northeast corner of the castle and is now known as MacMillan's Tower. Its main feature was the water supply to the kitchen.
It is unclear when exactly Castle Sween was abandoned, but when it was visited by the authors of A Definitive Guide to Castles in 1892, they found it to be heavily overgrown and eerily quiet. In 1933, it was put under the care of the Historic Buildings and Monuments Directorate and currently belongs to Historic Scotland.
If you're looking for a way to connect with your MacMillan ancestors, we would highly recommend a visit to this striking stronghold. You can walk through the old courtyards and imagine your ancestors going about their everyday lives, forging bonds, watching for enemies, and above all, serving their chief and clan kin.
If you are in the area, make sure not to miss the nearby Kilmory Knap Chapel, which is equally rich with MacMillan history.
Knap Chapel is a classic Highland church, which is believed to have been built in the 1200s, though it seems there was also an earlier religious site in the same spot. One of the most notable elements of the current day remains are the West Highland grave slabs, which date between the 1300s and 1500s, and many of which commemorate members of Clan MacMillan. These stunning stones are distinctive examples of early Christian and medieval stone carving in Scotland, and feature intricate designs which blend religious symbols with images from everyday life. The motifs used include swords, crosses, galleys, animals, combs, mirrors, and tools of trade, while some of the slabs also display figures that are believed to represent important local figures, such as significant members of the clergy.
While these monuments are a fascinating element of the site, we would say that the standout feature of Knap Chapel is the McMillan's Cross, which was erected in the 1400s for Alexander MacMillan, at the time the keeper of the Castle Sween for the Lord of the Isles.
It stands at almost 3 metres high and is richly decorated, depicting an unsheathed sword, a hunting scene in which 3 hounds attack a stag, the crucified Christ with St. John and the Virgin Mary, and a small leaping animal biting its own tail.
It stood in its original site at the northwest of the churchyard until 1981 and can now be found displayed inside the chapel.
Let us know if you visit to see this stunning monument to the MacMillan family. We'd love to know which element of the intricate design most catches your eye.
Now that you know a bit about Clan MacMillan's origins, we'd like to introduce you to a few of their most accomplished members.
Clan MacMillan have lent their abundant talent to a range of different fields. They have excelled in politics, literature and on the stage, and helped to cement the family's impressive reputation.
One MacMillan even managed to make it to the very top of Parliament, holding the spot of Prime Minister from 1957 until 1963.
Harold MacMillan was born on the 10th of February 1894 to a publisher and an artist. He studied at Eton before going on to Balliol College in Oxford. After university, he served in the First World War before entering the world of politics, initially as a Member of Parliament in 1924. His intelligence, pragmatism and grit impressed his colleagues, and he quickly rose through the ranks of the Conservative Party. When they were elected in 1951, he was made Minister of Housing, then Minister of Defence, Foreign Secretary, before eventually landing the role of Chancellor of the Exchequer.
In 1957, MacMillan took over from Sir Anthony Eden as Prime Minister, inheriting a party and a country that was demoralised and turbulent. Supposedly, he even told the Queen that he wasn't confident that the government could last longer than 6 weeks.
They ended up sticking around for significantly longer than that.
During MacMillan's first term, he managed to restore the Conservative Party's reputation, which had been badly damaged by the Suez Crisis, and increased their majority in the 1959 general election. He also succeeded in improving the relationship between the UK and America, forming close bonds with President Eisenhower and Kennedy. Other areas of foreign policy were rockier, with Britain's application for the new European Economic Community being rejected by the French President in January of 1963. This is said to have devastated MacMillan, but luckily one of his biggest international achievements was just around the corner. In August of the same year, MacMillan was heavily involved in negotiating the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, which earned him praise across the globe.
After this point, the government began to struggle with a number of crises. The economy was becoming unstable, and MacMillan's sacking of 6 cabinet members prompted further mistrust from the public. He decided to resign in October 1963, but was certainly not idle in his retirement. He became chairman of his family's highly successful publishing firm and brought out a 6-volume autobiography. He was created Earl of Stockton in 1984 and passed away in 1986.
Our next famous face for today is a celebrated American author, most known for her nuanced and vibrant portrayals of African American women's lives, which are full of humour, truth and emotion.
Terry MacMillan was born in 1951 in Michigan and cultivated a love for literature while working at the local library as a teenager. After finishing school, she moved to Los Angeles, where she happened to live opposite Los Angeles City College. After finding out that she could attend classes there for free, she enrolled in a writing course part-time, alongside working as a secretary. Her talent was immediately apparent, and she soon won a scholarship to transfer to the University of California at Berkeley, where she gained a BA degree in journalism in 1977.
MacMillan published her first book, Mama, in 1987 and took a very hands-on role in promoting it. She wrote to thousands of booksellers pitching her work, and the book quickly sold out its first run of 5,000 copies. However, it was her third novel, Waiting to Exhale, that won her national acclaim in 1992. It was the second largest book deal ever awarded in publishing at the time, and it remained on the New York Times bestseller list for multiple months. By 1995, it had sold over 3 million copies and was adapted into a film with the same title and attracted big names in Hollywood starring Whitney Houston, Angela Bassett, Loretta Devine and Layla Rochen.
This was the start of a long and successful run of movie and TV adaptations for MacMillan. In 1998, another of her novels, How Stella Got Her Groove Back, was made into a film, also starring Angela Bassett, and in 2020 her book Disappearing Acts was produced as a cable feature.
Last year, MacMillan signed a deal with Lifetime to produce a series of movies under the banner of Terry MacMillan Presents, so be sure to keep an eye out for what's to come next.
Our final talented MacMillan has also made a splash in the arts, though this time in the world of dance.
Kenneth MacMillan was a choreographer and dancer renowned for his extremely powerful and moving work and his contributions to ballet.
MacMillan was born in Dunfermline in 1929 and was evacuated to Nottinghamshire during the Second World War. While there, he began ballet lessons with a dedicated teacher who eventually helped him to gain a place at the Sadler's Wells Ballet School.
He soon began dancing with the company, but struggled with severe stage fright, so decided to focus his attention on choreography and directing instead. His first full-length ballet, Romeo and Juliet, was a massive international success and became a staple of both the Royal Ballet and American Ballet Theatre.
MacMillan also took his career to Europe, choreographing Song of the Earth for the Stuttgart Ballet in 1965 and becoming the director of the Deutsche Opera Ballet in West Berlin in 1966. An irresistible opportunity soon drew him back to London, however, and in 1970 he returned to the UK to succeed Sir Frederick Ashton as co-director with John Field of the Royal Ballet. 3 months later, he became the sole director and remained in that position until 1977, when he resigned to take over the role of principal choreographer instead. His great talents were recognised when he was knighted in 1983, and he continued to work, creating many beloved and enduring shows.
His dedication to the art of ballet lasted right until the very end of his life, as he sadly died backstage at the Royal Opera House while his ballet, Mirling, was being performed. The curtain calls were cut short due to this tragic news, and the audience reacted with shock and sorrow. As they left the theatre that night, there was a sense that they had lost one of the all-time greats.
To this day, MacMillan is celebrated for his service to theatre and ballet, and remains a huge inspiration to aspiring dancers, directors and choreographers.
As always, we could talk about this fascinating clan forever, but we're sadly running out of time in this episode. Luckily, we have much more MacMillan content for you to enjoy over on our blog and website.
Head over to our clan page to learn more, or browse the 9 different variations of MacMillan tartans we have. Owning your clan's tartan is the perfect way to connect with both your heritage and your fellow clan members, and we have plenty of products to choose from.
Thank you for listening, and please get in touch if you have any questions or comments.